Welcome back to Solo Spotlight. I'm your host, Ryan MacDougall. Today's guest, Jen Tomski, the creator behind That's Really Jen. Her work focuses on life, travel, home, and food with a simple goal: encourage people to try something new and make memorable experiences. In this conversation, we cover the origin of her brand, how she selects and produces content, the standards she uses for partnerships, and how she balances community impact with personal boundaries. We'll also look ahead at what she's building next. If you find value here, consider subscribing and sharing this episode. Let's get into it. Jen Tomski, creator of That's Really Jen.
Yeah, I hear myself now.
Welcome back to Solo Spotlight, episode 57. I'm your host, Ryan MacDougall. I'm here with Jen Tomski, social media influencer, creating great reels and content for people to, quote unquote, try something new. You were the recipient of the Tourism Influencer Award in 2025 at the Edmonton Tourism Awards. Thank you very much for coming on. I can't wait to hear all your stories, how you create content, and as well as some actionable insights that people who are listening that are getting into media influence or social media or even just food collaborations. I'm very excited for this one. And as I said, my girlfriend, she watches you all the time. So she was so upset she had to work today. She was like, "Oh, can I be there for it? I have so many questions." Uh, yeah, yeah. How you doing today?
I'm doing so good, and I'm so excited to be here because this is my first ever podcast,
Yeah,
and I'm nervous but excited, and I think you'll have some really good questions that I've never heard before, so it'll be
yeah.
good.
It's it's fun because I think that we kind of share the same realm with like me trying to do short form content
Mhm.
of like what works, what doesn't work, what's too long and drawn out. So it's definitely like its own language. Like when I got into it, it was like a whole nother world.
Yeah.
But your profile starts off and it starts off by saying, try something new. Explain to me where that came from and what that means now to you.
So maybe I'll give a little bit of backstory as to where my page actually started.
Sure.
So way back in the day, I think I was in high school or early university, I was actually singing, and I was doing singing content, and I was also going to some local places because, I was all about the local musicians, local restaurants, and just supporting local. So that's where it all started. And then I did a lot of content where I was speaking Mandarin, which was a complete 360. I went to China, I was speaking Mandarin, I was supporting Chinese businesses. It was crazy. So that was like a 2-year, 3-year break. And then I switched back to doing Edmonton again. So the reason for that was because I was convinced I was going to move to China and then I didn't because COVID. So I stayed in Edmonton, but I was like, how do I still bring value to people? I love making videos. And after COVID, people want to go do things. And that's kind of where it all started. I was kind of bored and I was like, let me go do something fun. Let me go
Yeah.
try something new. And so that's where that all basically began. And now I just live and breathe that, where I love doing new things and I want to inspire people to go make memories with their friends and family and loved ones.
That's amazing. It's interesting that you say too about like COVID because a lot of people that I talk to, the inception of whatever like their creative prowess was because like they just had a little bit of time by themselves to like think of like what do I actually want to
Yeah.
do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting for such a bad time and how like stressed people were. Like it gave people an opportunity to really like hone in on what they want to do.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then it was like once everything opened up, you really got like a jump start
Yep.
because it was like everything's open for business now. So you probably couldn't not find something to do content on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Yeah. So was it always under the same name?
It was actually, yeah, That's Really Jen has been it since like early university. So yeah, long time.
And is that why you made Bob make That's Really Bob?
Do you know what? That was actually his idea. I told him, I said, you need an account that I can tag freely. And he just made it.
I thought it
That's a
was
good
genius.
idea.
I thought it was genius.
It was.
I was like, that's amazing. I was like, that's so smart. I was like, it's just, you just switch the name. That's it. I was like, so now it doesn't really matter how deep or how far away you want to get. It's like, that's just, and then it's so synonymous with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So everybody already knows, oh, that has to do with that. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Um,
Branding.
yeah. So talk about your first experiences doing it. So it's after COVID. So did you stick with cuz you were trying cuz you're coming back like learning Mandarin, you're staying in the Asian culture, was like reviewing Asian food like the first kind of thing you were doing? What was like the first prospecting that you did in terms to find content?
Great question. So actually the first thing I did after COVID was I ditched and I said, I'm going to Taiwan for 5 months. So I actually went, I was making my little YouTube videos, I was doing my little short form videos, but then I came back and realized that, okay, I'm staying here. So I ended up doing some content with Bob where we did some date nights, and then that just stemmed. So we did date nights just literally anywhere. We were just doing fun things, snowboarding, paint shops, garlic fest was happening at that time. So we just did a lot of content around that. And then after that, yeah, it just stemmed. I started getting invited to more things. So I was like, oh, okay, there's opportunity here. And when people started really liking that content, it just fueled me to keep doing that style of content, which was just going and trying new places and new things.
So what was some early techniques you had in terms of, so you were already in this content creation field, you were already creating content, but what was unique about branding it towards something specific or narrating an event? Because you see it's almost like a vlog style, but how did you, was there any learning new equipment? Was there any differences in what you were doing, and what were some early techniques that you had when you were making content?
Yeah, good question. I think when it started, what the Edmonton stuff again, I was kind of doing more voiceovers. A lot of my friends are content creators, and I've been friends with them since I was doing music back in the day. So I kind of watched how they were doing things and what was successful on their pages, and they were really supportive too, which was really nice. So I was doing, yeah, just a lot of voiceovers and just showcasing my experiences. But then as TikTok got more and more an influence in society, I started to realize, oh, people like vlogs. So I think I was one of the first doing vlog style content of going to these places in Edmonton, because I started to switch because I like talking on camera. That's where my experience lies.
Right.
So I got really excited to start talking on camera again. And yeah, here we are. I'm going to try doing YouTube again soon.
Yeah.
I like talking on camera.
YouTube's definitely, it's interesting because even between the platforms, the algorithm changes so much of what works here, what doesn't work here. Like you see a lot with YouTube now, a lot of people that did reaction content or they did compilations, they would have their voiceover in the background. And now, just because I'm always thinking the back ends of everything, right? So every time I watch these reaction videos, I go, this guy's showing his face more. This must be something where his YouTube partner told him, hey, your content's not going through the algorithm because you're not doing a talking head monologue. So it's the same type of monologue, the same thing he's doing, but instead it's recorded him in a black room talking to the camera because it's that's what YouTube favors. And it's trying to get around all of this AI content and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of that on YouTube.
Yeah,
these days,
it's a
for
lot of AI content. But it's interesting because I think it's I'm sure as you've been aware, when you started to where you are now, the techniques and your speaking ability and stuff like that, it's just it goes so far and you learn so much that it transfers into so many different parts of your life, which that's what I always say is the biggest thing to this is doing this. It's so it transfers to everything else of I have way more patience with listening to people and hearing them out and asking the right questions and stuff like that. What were some early posts that you validated you?
Ooh, I think it's just when I started to see that my audience was getting value and I started to see it through numbers. So statistically, it is doing good. And so then I was like, oh, okay, so this type of content performs well. It made me feel really good. So I just kept doing it, and then it kept making me happy, and other people are happy. So I'm just living life. Yeah, early on, it was just through
So
numbers. I saw it.
what do you think for you and your content is like the biggest metric to success? Shares, comments,
Yeah, the engagement rate is definitely the biggest. Likes is like whatever to me because people sometimes just scroll and like, scroll and like,
and
scroll and
especially
like.
if anybody like boosts your post. If you have like if you're partnering with someone and
Yeah.
they decide to boost the post, it's like a lot of those likes you're getting. Like I boost some of my posts and it's like, oh, the likes just go right up, but nobody's actually like taking in
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, I actually haven't had too many posts boosted actually, but I can see what you're saying because the more it's in front of
And
somebody.
it depends on what it depends on if you have the metrics right
Yeah.
for like if you're doing it like for everybody, it's like you're getting these huge populations in like Indonesia
Yeah.
and Vietnam and all these places. And like it's just they're scrolling through so much content and some of it's bots and but that's good though, like the viewer engagement and like how were you ever like driven to like go outside, like do Calgary? Because I know you did like mini trips, like the Fairmont and stuff like that. So like what was like your defining factor in staying in like Edmonton area or just making sure like you're like supplementing like the community in Edmonton and not like taking because I know you just did that like, 24 hours in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And that was probably like a bigger step in terms of like doing like partnerships outside of Edmonton.
Mhm.
So like what kind of keeps you here? Just the mass amount of businesses or
I think it's just that I love Edmonton so much. We plan on staying here for a long time. I mean, we might dip to China for a little bit, who knows? But it's just that Edmonton has a great community, great people. There's always things to do here. And I'm trying to also implement lifestyle. And Edmonton just has a lot of opportunity for us growing as a family. So that's kind of what roots me here. But you're right. Like, I do kind of go out. A lot of the content still relates to people in Edmonton, which is good because my primary audience is Edmonton. If I work with Red Deer, that makes so much sense because people are driving past Red Deer all the time. Same with Calgary. I've worked with Calgary before. That was an incredible partnership I did last October. And it's just showcasing the lifestyle that they have there and inspiring people who always go there from Edmonton to try something new.
right.
I also did Prince George this summer. That was my first out of province experience, which was so nice. It kind of gives a similar vibe to Edmonton. They have like their river. It gives small town vibes. They have a bunch of boutiques. It's so cute. So just going there and trying something new because they had cheap flights to get over there. That's why it made sense for them to work with me because
Okay.
from Edmonton to Prince George.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the recent one with Hamilton was actually a partnership with the Edmonton Airport. Yeah. So
YYG.
yeah, exactly. So they wanted to promote that they had a new nonstop flight to get to Hamilton. And I'm like, oh, I've never been there before. Sign me up because I love to do things. And that was fun. I did that one completely on my own, actually. And it was such an experience. And I was like, I feel refreshed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Through this whole like content creation journey, what were some like early things that you learned throughout this? Was there any like was there any times where you put out like content and you were like, I probably could have done this or I missed recording this or like stuff like that. And it's always like hindsight is 2020 and you can always like you can always be like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done this, I should have done this. But like was there things where you were like, I'm not gonna miss this next time?
Yeah, I think that happens literally with every single piece of content I put out. It's, oh, I wish I had a shot of this, or, oh, my voiceover, I wish I should have included this, or, oh, like there was this vlog style, but I totally missed this because I want to show an authentic experience. But at the same time, then I'll watch somebody else's video and I'm like, oh, they got something. I forgot to get that. And it's something that I would have thought might have added value to my audience. You live and you learn. You just try to improve
Yeah.
every time. Like, there's so many things I wish I could do better with literally every video, but
Do you feel like you have to get into like almost like a creative flow because you don't want to sound too, especially when you look at like those commercial like partnerships, is there ever there like you kind of have to like jazz yourself up a bit so you don't sound like drab, or like you don't like want to sound too like monotone? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
have to
yeah.
like for sometimes for me, like I'll have to like if I have like a guest that I know that like their energy is going to be like high, or I feel like I'm going to have to carry it, I have to like keep my social battery like full for like 24 hours prior,
Yeah.
because I know that like there's going to be an expectation that like it's not going to be that appealing going in. Like it's not going to, this is exciting, I can riff on this all the time, but sometimes, don't get me wrong, like it's super nice talking to like city councilors and shit, but it's also okay talking about bike lanes and this and that, but you're kind of like talking about more like different situations,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I have to know that like my like where I'm at
Yeah.
has to kind of be on
Yeah, you
point.
have to like match that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like talk to me about that, because you're always so upbeat.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's just me. But sometimes I go home and I'm like, I do need a reset. But that's life.
Yeah.
I love, like, even when it comes to partnerships, I tell them like it's always the same. Like even in a partnership, I always keep it same energy, but I always approach my content in a very I like to think a positive light and with higher energy, because that's also what people like to see, but also luckily for me, that is my energy.
So you can just
So
go with
it's
it.
kind of easier. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I need a little reset, and then Bob gets to recharge me. He's
Mhm.
sitting right there though. For you
Yeah.
guys watching.
Yeah.
Hi honey.
Hello. Um, that's interesting too, because ha- it's probably widens the, because now you can combine, I don't want to say quality time, but it's kind of quality time. But when you talk about that and like prospecting that, is that like a discussion that you need to get like his okay as well? Or is it, hey, we're going to go to this dinner and like whatever, and we have like this type of arrangement, and it's kind of like you have to be on board? And was there any apprehensions for him being on camera?
Ooh, actually, I think that he loves it, I have to say. We do have a shared calendar now, which has been life-changing for us
Yeah.
because I can always see when he has plans. I have his work schedule because it's not like a typical work schedule. And I think that, when I have something, I need to consider, like, oh, this is a day where he's going to be tired. So
Mhm.
I'm going to take somebody else. And I consider like what he would be interested in. I don't want to drag him out to everything. But also, actually, recently we had a talk where we're thinking about this is kind of like work to me. So I want to take more of a work approach. So I'm going by myself or like with other people who do content as well. But he loves coming along and I love taking him along. The other day we went to a VR place. I love
I
VR.
just saw that.
Yeah, he loves VR.
Yeah.
Taking him is
It's
natural.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to how to like define that of like, because for you, it's probably exciting all the way.
Yeah.
But then you also don't want to like drag someone along and then be like, look, this is so fun. And like, and one person I had on, she was also did like food reviews. And I said, and like none of her family did it. So she said, like every time she goes out with family, she tries to record the dishes, and like she kind of gets some like pushback, right? Of like, oh, really? Like, this is what we're doing, right? So even with that, even with Emily with podcasting, like she'll have to be like, okay, who do you have for interviews? Like, who do I like feel comfortable being in the house around? Who do I not?
Right. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But it is interesting because the first time I saw Bob was the Bannock Burger one.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it was like a quick like, and I was like, oh, those two are together. That's crazy. I'm gonna get a new podcast guest. That's essentially what I thought. But then in my mind, I was like, I wonder what his tolerance to that is. I wonder if there's like a level of tolerance, and like how much are you doing it to like support them, and then where do you draw the line of being like, okay, this is just consuming everything.
Yeah. No, he's very supportive. Like this has like in the past few years especially, it has kind of consumed me. I'm like, "Oh, this is a good opportunity for a video. This is a good opportunity for a video." But then now he actually comes to me a lot and says, "You should make a video about that." Or like, "Oh, you should film a video here. Like we're going here. This would make a good video." And so he's super supportive and encouraging all the time, and it's honestly to have somebody like that next to me is the most special thing, because it would be draining to have somebody who's like, again, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So having him be there for me and watching the entire growth and supporting literally the entire way to where I'm at now, like he's seen everything and he's been behind everything. Like I only started showing him later,
Mhm.
but he's been there the whole time and it's been the best.
And to be fair too, is like what you're doing is pretty rare. Like even at the level that you're at doing the partnerships and everything, it's like it's not unfair for someone to be like, yeah, that ain't for me. Because it's not like you're like a teacher or you're like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're doing a regular job where someone's like, oh, well, that's just something like that person has to do. It's like, no, that was like an active choice that you've built on. And like, not many people want to do that through like fear of like criticism or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's like when people decide to stick around, not stick around. I feel like stick around is like a really like rude term. But like when they decide to like support someone in that, it shows like not only that they like believe in like the dream or the vision, but like they can see like the value in it, right?
Hmm, hmm.
Because I think that sometimes that's where you see like, okay, I don't need you to like see it the same way I do, but like at least understand that like if you were where I was and like building all this up, then it's like, and now once you're getting to like you're like cresting where it's like now you're like, oh, it all makes sense. It all makes sense
Yeah.
now.
Now
And
he
now,
sees it.
yeah.
Full
And
fruition.
yeah, and now you see it and you're like, "Oh, that's what all the early mornings and late nights and going to all the different places."
Yeah.
Like growing as this, do you find your day-to-day routine changes at all?
I think yes. I'm really fortunate to have been able to quit my job. How long ago? A year and a half ago. And
Congratulations.
thank you. That was a really big step. It was really scary. I was working like 18-hour days, and that was my sign to be like, okay, Jen, you can dive in. You know, you might not be making as much now, but there's potential if you can put that time and energy into it. And the day to day, luckily, I've I'm able to find opportunities to film my content in batches or whatever that might look like, where I might film 2 days out of the week and then I have content for the rest of the week. Because
Mhm,
I post 1 to 2 times a day now,
mhm.
which has been pretty steady, I think. You know, home content, Edmonton content, maybe a travel content here and there. So the day to day, you know, I'm kind of chilling, I have to say,
Mm,
but I'm always thinking about
mhm.
it. I'm always like, oh, I have to do this, or like, where's this next place? Or if I'm scrolling on TikTok, oh, this place looks really cool. Maybe I should visit there. Or like brainstorming, what is something nobody's talked about yet? So like in my head, I have to say, it's a whirlwind, it's a
Yeah.
tornado.
Oh,
But I'm trying to like these days, I'm trying to calm myself
yeah.
a little bit and take the days slower and easier. Like this morning, I like you know, you could go and just harvest some vegetables from the garden, but no, I took out my tripod. I was filming horizontally and then vertically. Something that would have taken me 15 minutes took me 2 hours. So
Right.
it's like you're learning how to slow down your pace. And honestly, that's been kind of a blessing. I like to think about it, you know, because I've always been so go, go, go.
Do you do like storyboarding?
No, actually, because in my head, I've had the
You
experience of
already
doing this
you
so
already
much. Yeah.
I in my like when I do it, I'll do like storyboarding, but it won't be visual. It will
Yeah.
be like I'll like pillar it. So I'll be like, what are my three pillars of this
Yeah. Yeah.
interview?
Yeah.
What am I leaning on? And then I like, because for me, I always go like, okay, what is the metrics of success? How do I judge whether, because I can have a conversation with anybody, but it's like, how do you judge if you hit the points that you need to hit? And if you hit them, good. If you didn't, my early on was I'd take the raw file, I'd click through it 10 times. And if you were talking more than I was talking, that was a win.
Mm,
So
that's
that,
nice.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
was my
Yeah.
way of an early measurement of like, okay, now I like rely on AI where like I put it in, it gives me like metrics of like you talked 15%, your guest talked 85%,
Nice.
you
Nice.
had this many filler words. So it is really interesting because like the same hour long conversation. Now, what is your ratio to filming and your ratio to editing?
Ooh.
For every 1 hour of editing, for every 1 hour of filming, how many hours of like editing and like figuring that out?
Wait, okay, maybe I can do it per video. So typically when I go out and I film, let's say for where I live, I have to drive basically half an hour to get anywhere. So
Right.
I'm driving 30 minutes there and back. So that's 1 hour. And then filming, if it's a meal, that's 2 hours. If it's a cafe, it's 1 hour, whatever. So I would give it maybe 2 to 3 hours filming. And then editing, I've gotten to a point where even when I'm filming, I know what shots I need. So what used to take me 2 hours of editing now takes me 20 minutes. So that's the nice way. But then also posting takes me another half an hour because you're posting, you're writing your captions, you're doing a bit of research, you're adding music, and then you're posting, and then you're sharing it to the stories. So it's a lot of time. So I'm thinking about per video, we're looking at 4 hours to 5 hours, depending on the experience.
And is there any when you look at going to public places, because you do the at-home stuff, you do the gardening, you do the experiences, which are kind of like catered, so like they have a little bit of consideration for you and the fact that you're filming. But the places that you're dropping in on, like the hole-in-the-wall restaurant or hole-in-the-wall cafe, is there any type of like onboarding that you need to do with them of like, hey, I'm gonna come in, I got these lights, I got these cameras, or is it kind of like, do you have like a paragraph script of like how you like onboard like people of like, hey, my name's Jen, blah, 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 I'm going to film some content. What does that look like? Give me that paragraph.
So I actually, when it comes to local businesses, it's usually a surprise for them. Sometimes they'll invite me and I'll go out, which has been it's also really nice too. So they know that I'm going to be filming. So I do have a bit of leniency. But when it's just a random place, like the other day we went to a place called 852 Hong Kong Cafe. That place is super hole in the wall. It's full of like really interesting people that are just there to have a good time. And the tables are kind of closer together. So filming there was really interesting because they don't know that I'm going in. They don't know I'm making a video. They don't even know who I am. So I go in and I'm like, I do my thing outside. I show off the space, and then I'm trying to subtly film because I don't want to interrupt anybody. I don't want to make things awkward, like even for the table next to us.
You
like,
don't want to be
they're
like,
filming. Yeah.
oh, like, and then people are like, what the?
Who is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I want to be super respectful because I'm just there to support them and also show my followers something new. So that's the main thing is like, I just want to show off the food. So I'm filming the food, which doesn't take up space. You know, like I'm not there. I don't have lights. I don't have a big microphone. I don't have a separate camera. I use my phone, and my microphone is the DJI mic mini. Like it's like so small.
Yeah, and you just clip it on.
Yeah, I just clip it on with a little magnet. It's so cute. But people don't even know that I'm filming. So that's honestly ideal. I also try to get nobody in the content except for myself and maybe Bob. So that's about it. It's super relaxed. I like to think, I'm just there to support people and show people.
Did you ever have like some of these experiences that like, because I'm sure like 99% of the time it's like these people are always like happy to have you film. But have you ever had like an interaction where they micromanaged or like they started asking can you get this? Can you do that? Can you do that? And like, what is your like conflict management style with that when you feel like, when you have like people that you might be collaborating with or trying to give support that are more like abrasive, and like, how do you kind of avoid that?
That's a really good question, actually. There are a few businesses like that, I have to say, but you know, because now I'm going in and just filming on my own, I don't really get that because, you know, they're not even seeing that it's happening. Sometimes like people will recognize me though. So maybe it's not really controlling. Like it's not micromanaging or anything. When I was first starting, maybe yes, because they were like, oh, like this is a hosted experience. Can you show this dish? Can you show this dish? Like sometimes I just showed up and I said, just give us whatever and I'll film it, whatever you guys want to feature. And maybe then they would give us too many things and I'm like, that's too many. Like people won't even remember what I showed them, you know, things like that. But honestly, we're just vibing. We're just chilling now, luckily. Yeah, I'm in a place where I can, like, I do things my way and it's like my stuff is successful for a reason. And I think that people trust that.
Early on, do you think like your journey in your early stage, did you ever have to like weigh the considerations of like a hosted experience or partnership to like, oh, is this going to tarnish me on my way up? If this person asked me to film this type of content or do this, was there ever that inkling of like, oh, do I just listen to them? Cause like, who am I? And like, what do I know? Maybe they've dealt with 100 influencers and then did that kind of experience like develop over time of being able to like set those boundaries?
So I set boundaries no matter what, to be honest. Like I do things my way because I know what works for me and I know what's authentic to me.
Mhm.
And that's what really matters. I think, in the past when you're doing a hosted experience and stuff, like I was a bit more flexible because I was learning. I didn't know what to do. I just was like, oh, this is cool. Like I get to meet new people in the city. They get to show off whatever they want. And like I wouldn't include what I didn't think would perform anyway. So I was just really sticking to my gut, I think. But there was an instance where there's a place pretty popular on TikTok, actually. Like a lot of influencers go there, and like especially the really small influencers, they all go to that place. But I was the first influencer that went there, and I said, I'm not showing that. Like I don't want to. Like I'm like I don't eat that, and I think that everybody else has already featured this thing. It's not unique. So I said, how about you give me this? I'll make a video about this. I already have a unique angle, a unique hook that I can go to that. And that video went viral. And then after that, they were like, oh my God, like, we're so glad we trusted you on that. So I like to think I know what I'm doing. Of course, there's opportunity to always improve. There is strategy behind what I do. But again, I don't always hit it. That's why I'm like always look back sometimes. I'm like, oh, I could have done this better. I could have done this better. So like that still exists too. I don't know.
And for our listeners, for people that don't know, like the influencer gig or like the business around it, what are some examples or how would you define like what a hosted experience would be? So what would be some examples of a hosted experience and what are the like criteria surrounding that?
Oh, so it's basically they send me a DM and they're like, "Oh, hey, we have this place. We think you'd love it. Can you come make a video?" And then they just host the experience. So they'll give me a couple of dishes complimentary and then I'll make a video, but it's not an official agreement to any point. It's like they're basically saying like, "Come." I like to make videos because I like to support them and thank them for hosting that experience, but I don't go at all if I don't think my viewers will get value from it. I'm not in it for free food or whatever it is. It's mainly I want to go to places that actually will add value because I get
Right.
probably 5 invitations a day, but I refuse most of them. Like I only
Yeah.
go to maybe 5% that I think are interesting, like the VR experience. I'm like,
Right.
it's a new place. It's so cool. Like people will actually love this. It's unique in the city. So of course I'm going to go because I think people will actually get value from that.
Does your criteria change over time, like through growth?
Yeah, it definitely did. Like now I like take 5%, but while I was still working a full-time job, I was like, I can't pay for a $60 meal every day
Yeah.
and grow and post once a day. So of course, back then I was taking more of those. But now I'm in a lucky enough position where even if something's hosted too, like I'll tip like 30 to 50%
Right.
of what the meal would have been because I don't like, they still work hard. They still provide the food and stuff. So I want to at least cover those costs for them. And yeah, that's why I only take a certain amount because first of all, it needs to add value. Number 2, I'm still paying in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's 5 hours of work still,
Yeah.
that I'm
And
putting in.
it seems like you're taking like a really good moral approach with it of like still understanding like even though it is like part of like the content machine, there's still people cooking
Yeah.
that food. There's still an owner of that business that needs to, and so there has to be give and take on both ends,
Yeah.
right? Like you can't fully gouge them to be like, oh, I'm going to take everything. And then what if your post doesn't do well? It's like, well, that's not a hit for them. I remember vividly Greta, they just posted
Oh, yeah.
and they said someone quoted them $4,000 for a 60-second reel. But is that reasonable for like a place like that where probably makes oodles of money? Would it be like, no, you can afford it? Or is
That's
it
crazy to me because I'm like, I don't even charge corporate businesses that for a paid partnership. I don't charge local at all. Like
right?
I used to, like, way back in the day, there was like, it was way smaller amounts, but not $4,000. It was maybe like $100,
Yeah.
$200 or
Yeah.
something, way back. But, yeah, $4,000 is crazy. I think that was the Calgary one too. But also
Yeah.
I'm like, were they just following the trend? Because I also know that there were multiple people that have made videos like, oopsie, there was multiple places that made videos about influencers just so that they could get views on that video.
Right.
So I'm like, was that real? I mean, it could have been, but I'm like, there's
Right.
no Calgary influencer that could charge that. Maybe they are, but I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
I said
crazy.
that's kind of crazy. But To give you an example though, like when you look at the videography business, I was trying to help out a friend from work that's running in a campaign. Shout out Colin Reed, running for Strathcona, Ward 7. I was trying to get him to find people to make him like a campaign video. And for a 60-second video, it was $800.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And anything over
For
a
videography, yeah, that's
yeah,
actually on the cheaper side, I
yeah.
have to say.
And what I told him was like, oh, I could probably get it like 200, 250. And then he's like, 800, anything over a minute is 1200 plus like everything else.
Yeah.
And then I kind of looked at it, and like when we talk about the ratios and stuff, you say like it's not like this person's driving out to whatever location. They have specific types of software, specific types of equipment. And then it's like for every hour that they're recording, they're probably spending 3-4 hours. And especially with videography of like,
Yeah.
so when you look at these price tags, it's very hard to, or I guess it's very easy to take it out of context and be like, $4,000. And it's like, well, what were you asking for? Were you asking for like a full in-depth walkthrough of your bar? Were you like tasting every single meal?
Yeah,
Like,
was it for their pages? Were they going to use it as an ad? Are they using it on their website?
mhm.
Like, you don't, all of that matters, right? Because it's how is it going to be used, or is it just going on the influencer page?
Yeah. And is it going to be a vlog style, or is it going to be like
Yeah.
fully like
Yeah.
professionally edited,
Intense
right?
cameras.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right? And I think people miss that. But even when you look at something like the vlog style where you're just doing like B-reel shots, getting them all together, doing the voiceover, stuff like that, it's like that's a lot of work. Like it's a lot of work, and at some point you have to say like I'm also just paying them for like their brain. Cause,
Yeah.
cause like some people, they don't think like that, right? Like some people, and it's not like a smart or stupid thing, but it's like some people just don't see it in that angle where you're like, okay, well, like you just have the imagination or creativity. So that's where half your like cost comes from, is just like you're just not seeing it like I'm seeing it. So it's very fascinating, because I think that's a big thing that like people get into issues with like the ethical side of it, of like, okay, how much should is free meals enough? Well, what are they asking for? Are they asking for too much? But continuing on that trend, was there any posts that you made that you were like, oh, this is a fluff piece, and then it just blew up?
Ooh, yeah, I think, yeah, I've had a few of those actually, where like, I'm just going to another place and I didn't expect it to do so well, but I had one that I have pinned on my profile actually called 7 Paintings. And I was like, oh, this is
The
just
dinner
a fun,
place.
yeah, it's like a fun, unique experience, but they have it all over the world. It went so viral for all over the world.
Yeah,
And
it
I
was like
whoa.
1.7 million or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think right now it's at 2.2 million. And like, that's my most watched video. Like my audience is primarily Edmonton, so it's not like there's a ton of people watching all my videos. On average, I get like 60,000.
Mhm.
But for that one, I was like, 2.2 million, that's crazy. And I'm like, this is just a standard video. But because that experience exists all around the
2.1.
world. Oh, 2.1.
But still, but 2.1 million, like that's insane. It's interesting. Do you have a strategy of like how you're pinning posts and how you're not pinning posts? Is there any strategy behind that?
At first I didn't even pin posts, but now I recognize that because of where I'm at, having my most watched videos pinned on my profile make the most sense. So I just do that. You see the best performing ones right away.
So that one took off. And was that like a hosted thing, or was that just like a drop in, shoot the shit?
That one was hosted.
Yeah. So did they reach out to you and be like, oh, thank you so much, like this is great?
I can't even remember what happened, but I let them know. I was like, oh, by the way, like, thank you so much again. Like the video went viral, and they were like, yeah, thank you. Like, I think that one was actually more tame. I think they had a PR agency running that campaign when a bunch of the influencers were going.
Right. So it was like
it was chill.
Yeah. That's cool. Now getting into like your methods, and like one of the like things that you talk about is like inspiring people to make memories by trying new things. So how do you reverse engineer these memories to like encourage people to like try? What's your like methodology, or what's like your magnum opus of like How do you
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's as simple as just saying like finding the most unique things, like, or just hidden gems, like just showing them what is available to them. You know, so many people say, oh, this is Edmonton or whatever. Well, you're not looking in the right places. Like,
mhm,
Edmonton is an incredible city with amazing community driven people. And we just need people to show off these experiences, you know, and like to think I can be one of them. So
mhm,
just showcasing what there is available. And I think that alone inspires them because they might not have known that was even a thing that they could do.
mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can tell by the metrics too that like, oh, if a lot of people are sharing it,
Yeah.
that's really good for like enhancing their presence, enhancing your presence. And is there like a credibility thing now where like you have to have like a ratio of what you're doing to make sure that you're not like overloading it? Like, is there a ratio you have to like how many like personal vlogs to hosted
Mm-hmm.
experiences to like not hosted? Do you have like a ratio in mind that you say like, okay, I have to do this many over the next month, or is it kind of just
No.
opportunity based?
It's more so, well, when we think about like hosted versus non-hosted, to me it doesn't matter because to me I'm only showcasing what people will like. So if it's hosted or not, like I'm still going to make the same video. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I would have not known something was opening, like the VR experience. I'd had no idea that that was even opening. So when they reach out and they're like, "Hey, come in." I'm like, "You know what? I would have made a video here anyway. Yeah, let's do it." So that's number 1. And when it comes to vlogs versus experiences versus food versus home, I try to do mostly food and experiences. Like I would just call it Edmonton content.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe one every 4 to 5 videos do a home piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then travel as opportunities come up.
Is there more research and stuff you have to do when it comes to like the VR or like more? Because with the food, you can kind of lean on the food and be like, oh, this is a very easy
Yeah.
way for me to describe the dishes and stuff. But with the VR, is there a different like tactic that you have to use to like build that content out?
Ooh, I like to think I like because I just want to show an authentic experience, what people actually would experience going in.
Hmm.
So I just like to go in blind and then I ask questions to the owner or to the servers or whoever as they come up. So in the past, I have done a VR experience, but not this kind. And the most common questions I got was, what kind of headset is that? And like, how much is this? And what ages is this good for? So I made sure in this video that I covered all of that. So it's not really like formula, I would
Hmm.
say. It's more like I just go in, I try to experience it, and then I try to think of what the viewers would want to know.
Do you always mention the prices of like how much things cost? Is that always like a consideration? Or are you more, because like sometimes depending on what it is, maybe the company doesn't want you to tell people that the VR experience is fucking $100 or something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, no, you're actually going to like deter people because like we're charging too much or something like that.
To me, I think that including pricing is really important.
Hmm.
I will admit that I'm really bad at remembering what the pricing is. So I sometimes forget to include it in my videos, but I do like to mention it if I can. For like the VR, I was also super lucky. They actually gave me a discount code. I don't get anything from it, but I'm like, I should start asking people for that. If they like are inviting me or something, I should ask because then it just gives people the opportunity to try something out for cheaper because we all love a
Well, and
cheaper
great
thing.
leverage to have that shared.
That's true.
People just share it to their friends of like, if you're going to try it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
here's a discount code.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like we try to use a lot of like affiliate codes just as like none of them really hit,
Yeah.
but it's like, hey, like we're just like everybody else with FanDuel and fucking ExpressVPN and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, and then it creates like this amount of like, oh, this is actually like a this person's trying to help me. This person's trying to like actually provide like value in terms of just like getting my view. They're actually like extending themselves even further.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Have you ever like with your content, have you ever considered doing like live Q&As? Like how do you like I want to know how do you bring personality back into your because when you go so far in one direction, you like they just see you for this person. So do you ever offer your audience the opportunity to like just have like Q&As or giveaways or
Mm.
like lunch and brunch or whatever it is?
So I'm thinking about in the future, probably not this winter because it's cold, but I was thinking about hosting some community events coming up like next spring. So that's something that I really would love to do for people. Q&As. I've been thinking about it, but I just keep forgetting to do it, to
Mhm.
be honest. But I show a lot of like my raw life and, I kind of reel them back into like building connection with them through my
Yeah.
Instagram stories, to
Yeah.
be honest. Like people are so engaged on my stories that I love them. Like anybody who watches my stories, like they're out there, they're giving me advice. I'm giving them advice. They're voting on different outfits I should wear or like
Yeah.
different things I should do, which is so much fun.
Well,
So yeah.
and even your content, like you do a really good job at like keeping people grounded and like there's no like skepticism of like, is this the same person that is off camera as on camera? Like you could definitely like show the authenticity where
Yeah.
it's like there's no guessing, right? There's no guessing of like, is this real? Like,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
this,
yeah.
because you know that some people like they hype it up, and then if you were ever talk to them outside of like recording content, they're just like buttheads. So
I can't imagine not being myself on camera. I
yeah,
have to say, yeah.
yeah. Well, I had a guy on. He said like, when you find your calling, like, why would you do anything else?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why would you do anything else?
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't make sense,
yeah.
right? Fantastic. It's so inspiring to hear people that are like just going for it and just doing it. And it's like there's probably, without you even saying, there was probably so many scenarios that you had where you were like, "Ah, should I be doing this? Do I know?"
I go through phases like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get imposter syndrome
So
sometimes.
how do you like build yourself back up? Like, would you consider yourself to be like introspective, like very self-aware?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so. Sometimes, I think it's just normal where you kind of get into a mood and you're like, should I be doing this? Like, is this right? Like, but what else would I be doing? And whatever. I'm just lucky enough to have Bob who reminds me who I am. And he's like, look, like people watch your content, like look at your numbers, like they're fine. So it's like sometimes I'm just in my head about it. But
Is he like the first governor to like whether or not a post is going to go out, or like when you're looking for like consideration, is there like any, do you have any like quality assurance? Like for me, I'll usually send it back to the guest, be like, and then they'll tell me, hey, I didn't like the thumbnail you put, or can you change this, or you can take this part out, or whatever it is. But like, do you rely on anybody for like any type of quality assurance?
I think depending on the piece of content, I might ask Bob, I might ask my mom,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. But for the most part, like I kind of have my typical structures of how I like to do my videos. So I'm like, okay, I'll trust that structure. It's been working. It's fine. But depending on where I'm featuring or like what I'm doing, then I'll
And
ask.
did
Yeah.
you have to get more comfortable like watching yourself back? Was that something that like took some, because for me, I use a lot of filler words and I ramble a lot.
Mm,
Now that I'm tuned in and knowing that's an issue, it sticks out like a sore thumb. And then I automatically use this one snippet and it weighs down the whole piece. So like say you didn't look at the camera when you were talking or something like that. Did you ever have to like get out of that and be like, oh, there still is like a whole piece of content there?
yeah. I've been doing this for so long and making YouTube videos and just doing content in general that I'm actually pretty happy with how I show up on camera, but I would be nervous to do something live. I
Yeah.
have to say, because I've done it before where I do live stuff and like it's always fine. I just get in my head about it, but it's more like I like to redo takes,
Hmm.
where I'm like, oh, I messed up saying this or I talk too fast. So I'm very self-aware of when it's happening, so I just go back into it. I don't know if you ever seen James Charles do like his videos or something and he's like
Yeah.
and he kind of stops and he just goes right back into it and redoes it, but perfectly. So that's basically me too. That people just don't see all of the extra takes. Yeah.
See, I do like the stop and start. Well, I'll like stop the recording, start the recording, but then it gets into like a mumble jumble mess. I've never tried like just letting it run and then stopping and starting the content again. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Because I mean, for me, I'm so comfortable about like, I remember when I'm editing which take was good, so I can just go and delete the rest.
Hmm.
So that's just me. But Yeah, I think stopping and starting would make more sense, to
Mm,
be honest. But like, if the camera's all the way over there,
yeah.
I have to get up when I could
Yeah.
just press a button and delete that first part.
Yeah. When I'm recording my monologues, Emily always just hears me go like, I'll be like, welcome, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll go, shit. And then I'll, welcome to blah, blah. And I'll just lose it every time.
Yeah.
And then after like 25 takes, I'm like, all right, I still don't like it,
But
but
it'll
this
do.
was the best out of the 25.
Yeah.
I was like, I still like fumbled on this word. That's interesting. And it's really happy to see that you like you want to engage with the community and you want to like provide that active like community support. Cause I think like when it comes to like content creation and stuff, a lot of people get very like dead set on like, I just need stuff that works for me and like whatever is going to help the algorithm, whatever is going to build me up.
Mm-hmm.
And like the fact that like you're allowing this type of collaboration, or not only that, like when things don't fit your narrative, you have like the courage to be like, yeah, that's not for me, which is very noble because I don't think a lot of people, like, especially that are trying to build a brand,
Yeah.
actively pick and choose
Yeah.
what they're going to pick, what they're not going to pick, and like have that consideration. Cause you, yeah, like you could be missing up on opportunities that you could get like money or free food or whatever type of experience, right? But you have like that notion of like, there's some ethics involved, right?
Yeah. And I think that's the one thing too that I would, if I was restarting the Edmonton based content, I think I would have taken that up a lot earlier, like been more conscious of it. Like I don't regret anything that I've, made, but it's more like maybe I don't eat desserts that much. So maybe like going to a dessert shop, it doesn't really make sense for me, but I know it makes sense for my audience. So like there was always kind of a battle going on, but now I literally only go to things that align with me and would be good for my audience. So I'm kind of in that place now, but sometimes we need to grow to get to that place. So I'm really proud of how I approach content
Mm-hmm.
now. But, in the past, maybe here or there, I could have said no to some things or I could have just not gone. But you're right. Like when you're in a place and you're like, you need content, you're kind of like on that high of seeing the numbers and seeing the growth and stuff like that, that you will say yes to as many things as possible. You'll go out every day of the week to get that content, but now that allowed me to get to where I'm at. So it's like it's a whole battle that goes on in your head.
And the thing is, you have such a safety net where you can just be like, guys, I'm just trying new things.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm just trying new things.
Yeah.
Like it's such an easy like way to get out of any like,
Literally.
guys, I'm just trying new things. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
Where like the fact that you're still having that consideration of like, I am also trying new things, but I have like consideration. Now, when you decide to like, say it's a paid partnership, or say it's a hosted experience, or say it's someone that invited you to come check out their place, is there any immediate red flags or is there any immediate criteria that like disqualifies them?
I think the number one thing is if it adds value to my audience. I'm not going to take like a gambling thing or something, like, so that's number one, is I want it to align with my audience, and number two, I want it to align with me, and number three, does it make sense? Like, is what they're asking for reasonable? Like, does it match up with everything that I've kind of done in the past? How much content do they want? How do they want to use that content? There was once I did a paid partnership and they asked me for content, and this is what kind of when I was first discovering a lot of what all of this world was, and they ended up using my content for all of their ads and for months, and I didn't know that I could have charged for that. So they paid me a small sum and used my content however they pleased, and that gave me a kind of reputation in the city at some point. So it was an interesting time, but again, like it's a learning experience. So yeah, but now I look out for those things. It's like, how are they gonna
Have you ever had like casinos and stuff reach out to you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was once I took like a lottery ticket thing, but it was in support of a charity, so it
Right.
was a bit of
And you did
different.
like the 50-50 with like the
Oh
Oilers
yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like that.
exactly.
But that's, I feel like there's still like a good nature in that. Like if you're telling people, hey, come spend your rent money on the slot machines, like,
Yeah,
you know what I
those
mean?
kind of things. I'm like, meh.
And I'm going to make a boatload of money because it's like whatever it is, right? But it also is interesting because like as you're growing, I want to say like asking price or your pay scales, like they start to adjust, right? And how do you like define that? And like, is there any like external like source you use as like a baseline of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate?
To be honest, not really. I just kind of see what people's budgets are for a pay, like for only for corporate, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
So, like I just see what their budget is and what I can do with it within that based on what I've done in the past.
Yeah. Because people ask us money, like, how much would charge it for host reads? I'm like, I don't know, $20. I have no idea. And they're like, you should be charging 500. And you're like,
Yeah, I'm like, use ChatGPT. Maybe it'll give you some better answers.
I'm like, they're like, yeah, you should be charging this. Okay, $50. Okay, I'll do it for $50. Yeah, that's. So when you talk about collaborations, is there? So you already talked about one that they used all your content without you knowing. What's one collaboration you're like outwardly proud of?
I think that the ones I'm most proud of are the ones that support the community in the most. But aside from, those ones where like I get recognition, like, those businesses come to me and they're like, oh, like this really made an impact. Like we were able to pay our rent for the first time in months, like the full lump sum of rent. Like those to me are the most rewarding. But other than that, like as a personal accomplishment, I think any travel is so nice because I am such a travel bug. Before I started doing this, I was actually traveling all the time, like around Asia. Like I love going to Europe. That would probably be a long-term goal, is to do something international. But for now, it's just like these little travel ones or tourism agencies make me so happy because they give you the opportunity to really shine and show like all the food, all the experiences that these places have. And it's just fun to show the audience and maybe exactly inspire them to do something new.
Yeah.
When they're traveling through these places or to these places, here's an exact list of everything they can do. And it's the most fun for me.
Have you ever thought about doing, now that you create, I want to get into like your business ideas of like, that's really social. Have you ever considered doing like a master class for like social media creation?
Yeah, I actually had that on the docket once because so that's really social is basically where I create short form videos for businesses. And right now, like I have some larger scale clients, but I also was like, how can I use this business to help smaller scale? So I do offer as a package to go and shoot like a lump sum of short form video, like as one time. So instead of doing a monthly contract, they can I can go one time within like 2 hours, grab a bunch of content and give them ready to post videos that are trending. They are good for branding, whatever. And they can use it as they please. And that's like a smaller investment as well.
Do you allow them to like shadow you as well? Like say they wanted to like pocket watch you and be like, yo, what are you do? How are you taking these shots? What kind of equipment are you using? How's everything?
I'm happy to do that. Like for if I'm there already and they have these kind of questions, they can ask me anything they want. But I can also do like workshops as like add-ons and stuff. I don't do it too much though, to be honest. Like my major thing is that's really Jen, like my social media. But I do love like my monthly clients and my one-time clients. They're so much fun to work with and you get to learn new things, right? Like keep your skills sharp and try new things with different industries. It's just fun. Yeah. And then you're helping them out too.
So with the inception of That's Really Social, what was the overall goal with that? What were you trying, like so you have your brand. Was this like a funnel because you were just receiving a shit ton of DMs and you were like, I gotta get a better way to like organize this? Or how did that work?
That's a really good question. It is actually the opposite. So for a while I was all throughout university, I always had my social media, but I always have been doing client work. It was just under a different name. So That's Really Social came to fruition because I was like, okay, I'm in a place where my brand is strong enough that now I can actually link the two. So that's where That's Really Social came in. I think it was like 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2 years ago. So it was something before, but I've been doing it for about 10 years in total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are the logistics of getting something up like that? Is there any regulatory or any like hurdles that you faced in terms of doing that?
I think just like your typical starting a business kind of things, like all the paperwork and, you have to think about taxes and you're incorporating your business. Like it's all the business stuff. But yeah, it was a lot to start it up. And then, you have your branding and you have the website and like I did it all on my own. So it was a lot, but
do you find the conversations with client changes when you're talking as like a media influencer personality because like your name's attached to that as opposed to like being under an umbrella?
I've kind of
can you be a little bit more strong army because you're under a quote unquote agency?
Everything is me. So I'm like, I'm just me the whole time. If people want to come and they want to do a one-time thing under That's Really Social, then I'm still me. They know it's me that's going to show up to do their shoot. And I'm honest with them based on my experience with my own stuff. And luckily, like, they've gotten to a point where they trust me too because of how long I've been doing my stuff for, and also with all the other brands that I work with, right? So it's luckily I'm in a place where I'm just me. I'm just
Yeah.
chilling. Me as an influencer too. I don't know what they're thinking, but I'm just me.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Are you able to, like, when people have bad intentions, like, given your experience, you probably able to, like, sniff that out pretty quick of like, this person might be trying to screw me.
Yeah. I mean, it happens in any industry, right? So if I sense that, then I'll just tell them what I can do for them, and that's it. I'm not as flexible as I used to be on packages because, it's happened before. You live and you learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like people doing like half up front, half when you deliver. And then once you deliver, they're like, I don't like
I've actually never had that before,
No?
luckily, so that's good.
Yeah. I've talked to some people and they've done like videography and stuff. And they would do like, okay, you pay half up front and then they're chasing them for 6 months trying to get their second half of the payment.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I didn't really like this part of it. It's like, no. No.
Yeah.
No.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, no. But at the same time too, like early on, some of these people, like they didn't understand the idea of contracts and this, that, and the other thing, right? So then they kind of handcuff themselves in what type of like they can do because
Yeah.
it's like they can just play stupid.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. Do you have any like do you do like client sourcing with like your That's Really Social, like, or usually it's a lot of like inward funnel, not outward funnel?
Yeah. Mostly it's just me getting the inquiries, which is pretty lucky. And I don't think I've ever done outward actually, except for once with my own social media.
And do you take on has there been opportunities to take on other influencers under this media brand?
No, it's because it's not an influencer agency, it's just me making videos for brands. Like, it's to help their
Yeah,
pages.
like if they wanted a paid content, you would never say, I'm not going to do it, but I know this person that will.
Oh, like that? Oh yeah, they're asking me to do something and like I'm like, oh, that doesn't really align with me, but I know somebody who would take that. Oh yeah, I do that all the time. But that's
Okay.
just influencers supporting influencers. Yeah.
Fair enough. Getting into more of like the personal life, and if I ever go too far, just
No
tell
worries.
me. Your whole wedding experience, congratulations. But you documented your whole wedding experience. How was that for you? And
That's
how did
hard.
was there any apprehensions with doing that? And was there a point where you had to like draw the line of like what I'm going to show and what I'm not going to show?
I'm just vibing, and these are also what my mindset going into that was that these are memories for me and my future children to look back on, and I just think it would be so wholesome and so cute. And number two is that I know a lot of people getting married soon, so if I share the vendors that I'm using and my experience with them, that maybe would help them out a little bit. So it's just, and also like getting people's advice. Like I was asking people, like, do I do my own makeup? I've never even been to a wedding. That's why I was like, maybe I should get people's advice as well. So it was just a whole thing. It was, I don't know.
Did you get any criticism with doing that? That like, oh, you were just trying to leverage brands to pay for your wedding or this?
No, we paid for pretty much everything.
No, and
yeah,
but like I think of those things,
Yeah.
and it's so personal that it's such a low hanging fruit
Yeah.
for someone to be like, nah, that's not real. You know what I mean?
Can
like,
you imagine?
yeah,
My
like,
gosh.
but do you ever get criticism like that, and how do you handle that criticism?
No, I was pretty lucky. Like, yeah, especially regarding the wedding, everyone was just supportive and being nice. And yeah, it's nice. I'm lucky enough to have created a good community online. TikTok can be a little crazy sometimes, but
Yeah,
it's all.
yeah. And with you see your content growing, like what do you see more of that you're filming where you didn't necessarily see that in the start of you creating this type of content, like having Bob or like sharing personal experience or even renos? And how do you find that still like adds value to your listeners
I
or
think that
viewers?
slowly as I grow and as my life progresses, that my audience will change and I will change, and I just want my content to reflect that. And so I know that I want to start doing more home content, more lifestyle content. So it's more like I'm starting to slowly introduce that because I want to attract more of like women like me who want to get pregnant. We want to have families. We want to do more homemaker type of things in our life. So it's me trying to attract them a little bit so that I can have them around. But at the same time, like, Edmonton is part of who I am, so I won't ever stop doing that. It's just how I approach it. Like, now I don't go to just any restaurant, but like if they're farm to table, that's exciting for me, So it's like I'm still doing Edmonton, but I'm going to be going to more farms. I'm going to be doing more local, like super hyper local things that are classic and just give that homey vibe. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm still, or like I'm going to be doing more Chinese content because that's rooted in our relationship because Bob is Chinese and he is going to start speaking more Chinese to me. So yeah, you'll see a bit more Chinese in my content. Like, so it's like, it's going to reflect me and who I am mixed with Edmonton, mixed with home life, because people also like to see that inside look as well.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to have a nice blend and I'm still figuring that out, to be honest, but
Is there anything that's still strictly off limits of like what you're like not willing to feature? And not even in terms of like the type of, but like, is there anything that you're like, I don't want people to know this part of, or like, I don't want to record my family, or I don't want to like, when I have kids, like some people, I have one friend of mine and it's kind of funny, but when his child was born, he was putting like emojis over all of the child, but then they send a picture to one of their friends and their friend put it on. So now your child's face is on social media. So good job. But like, is there anything of like that sense where you're like, oh, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I think it just depends. Like maybe it'll come up and I'll be like, oh, you know what? I don't know about this one. Or like, I don't want to show this, or I don't want to show. There's a lot of things that I obviously deal with in my personal life that I won't share online. But then there are some things that I'm like, oh, but for example, like silly
crying on
things.
camera.
Yeah, like crying on camera is not really my thing. But also I don't cry that often anyway, so whatever.
Yeah.
But then also it's like maybe talking about psoriasis. Like I get eczema and stuff. And I don't talk about that, but I'm getting really into this home style life thing that I'm like, oh, I found some natural remedies and I'm going to be making them from scratch. Like I put like these special mixtures together at home and I'm probably going to be showcasing that. So it's like, that's how that stuff will be introduced, but it's because it hopefully can add value to somebody.
And it's like organic and natural. Like it doesn't look forced.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the big thing where like, if you look through your content over time, like it all kind of tracks.
Yeah.
Nothing's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, like why are you posting that?
Like, why are you in wherever? Like, because it's easy to like suss that out and be like, oh yeah, I see it, right? I want to say, before I get into the rapid fire questions, I want to say this has been an amazing interview, Jen. There's been a ton of insights that you have given to people that, know you as a creator. I think this is just another layer into what you're doing and a way for your audience to engage in some things that might be lesser known, right? As well as your philosophies around content and how you record. I think that's super important. I just want to thank you for allowing me to hold you here and create this, hold court to allow you to share this. Yeah. And I'm very grateful for that. But going into some fast-paced questions. First one, if there was a That's Really Jen bubble tea flavor, what would it be?
That is the best question ever. What would it be? Honey, what would it be? Like a mango, a matcha lavender. Yeah.
Matcha lavender.
Yeah.
That's Really Jen matcha lavender.
Yeah.
That's going to be your first merch. 3 Edmonton first timer recreational activities that you would recommend.
Recreational activities. West Edmonton Mall. Duh. What else? Like
I have food activity neighborhood.
Oh, food activity neighbor. Okay, activity West Edmonton Mall, because there's just so many things to do, and I feel like that's so generic, but it's just you have to. Food. Bodega is our
Bodega?
favorite. Yeah, we love Bodega. It's like Spanish tapas. So
Oh, like
good.
taco? Oh, no, like small plates.
Yeah.
I was like, tacos. I love tacos. Tapas.
Yeah. That's mine and Bob's like go-to anniversary birthday date
Tapas.
night. Yeah. So good. And then what was the other one?
Neighborhood?
Neighborhood?
Yeah, neighborhood.
Anywhere with the River Valley.
Yeah.
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 Take a walk. It's
Yeah.
great.
River Valley's actually beautiful.
Yeah.
Last one. What's the next scary/fun thing you're forcing yourself to try this year?
Oh, yeah. This is what I'm really excited for. You get the first look. I recently posted. Exclusive. But recently I posted some of my artwork. Like I've been painting watercolors and stuff to just make my house more homey. And I got so many messages being like, are you selling prints? Are you selling prints? Are you going to be selling these? And I was like, what the heck? But I have some things up my sleeve to do with prints of that artwork and also inspiring people to have a more comfortable, soft life at home. That's on the docket.
Oh, that could be your next viewer engagement thing. Paint nights.
Ooh.
Paint nights. Teach
I
people.
love paint night. That's what we're doing after, actually. We're going to go paint pottery.
Yeah. That's awesome. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram, TikTok, I think Facebook. I don't know. They're somehow linked. And YouTube, all at That's Really Jen.
Awesome. And you can also check out for any corporations or big businesses looking out. You can check out That's Really Social and reach out. Reach out if you have any questions about some good spots. She is the Edmonton guru and in essence for all Edmontonian activities. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been amazing.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to have to check out Bodegas.
Yep.
Emily's going to be so happy about this.
Yep.
With that, that has been Solo Spotlight episode 57. Jen Tomski. That's
me.
really Jen on social media. If you like these conversations and want me to continue having them, liking, subscribing, sharing, leaving a comment below helps us grow and inform what we're going to do next. I'm your host, Ryan MacDougall, and see you next week.